Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Good afternoon. I'm Mary Grace, and we are live. This is the 11th of April, 2022. It's Monday, and you are joining me today for another live edition of Real Talk with Mary Grace. I hope that people are getting notifications and coming in. So far, I'm seeing a big 0 up in the chat. So we'll just see what happens. Are we here? Let's just see what happens. Another day in technology land. Welcome to the show, everybody. Good to see you. Come on in. Let me check my social media and see if people are actually seeing that I am live. Let's just see what happens here. Okay. I just got a whole bunch of messages that I didn't know were there. Very interesting. Looks like we are on YouTube. Don't know if Facebook is working right now. If it's not, I might have to go out and come back in. Okay, there we are. I think we're on Facebook. Good. Okay, so as you're coming in today, please share this. Please copy the link and paste it if you need to. And please also tag and send this into private messages so that everybody knows that we're here. If anybody is on my Telegram page, please share the links to my Telegram so that people know we are live. And here's one thing I want to say about Rumble. I've started streaming on Rumble because at some point I will probably, I don't know, maybe the YouTube channel might go down. I was streaming to CloutHub before, and the system that I use doesn't let me do both at the same time unless I upgrade and pay a lot more money. But the point that I wanted to make about Rumble is this. If you're watching me on Rumble and you see a notice that says I'm live and it doesn't look like I'm live, it's because I have to set it up ahead of time. And they do not have a placeholder that says coming on at 1 o'clock. When you're on YouTube, there's a placeholder that says live at 1 o'clock, set a reminder. Rumble doesn't have that. And so if I queue it up ahead of time, it literally, people are just sitting there and they're thinking, oh, wait, she's supposed to be live. Just understand that that's just not, Rumble is not that user friendly. If I queue it up ahead of time and then I hit go, I try to hit go right when I want to go live, it times out and it makes me start all over. So if there's anyone here who works for Rumble, I could use your help because you guys make it super, super hard to have an efficient, effective live streaming experience. And we would really like for you to fix that. However, those of you who are watching on Rumble, welcome. Love having you here. Okay. Yeah, and I don't need advice in the chat about how to work Rumble. It's just a bad setup. It's just not easy to set up. And if I go in and say, guys, come back at 1 o'clock, then I have to go back and edit everything. And I'm not going to do that. So just know that if you get to Rumble and it looks like I'm live, but I'm not, somewhere on the Rumble page, there might be something that says this broadcast will be live actually in 2 hours or whatever. I don't know. So again, thank you to you guys who support the Rumble channel. Keep subscribing, keep being part of that, because I just don't know how long we're going to last on YouTube. At some point, I will get back over to CloutHub. I know that some of you guys are on there, but to be honest, I just wasn't having that many views on CloutHub. That's just all I wanted to say about that. Okay. So thank you to my moderators. Thank you to people who are here. Thank you to Delia for taking notes. Thank you to Ronald who took notes the other day. My plan is to get all of the notes from the shows uploaded onto my Substack, account, and that is going to be helpful, especially because people ask for notes. Some people, some people have hearing problems. They can't actually hear the show. And it's an easy way to search the content of the show as well. Now, I'm going to stop reading notes. I'm going to stop reading the comments while I'm talking to you right now because it gets me distracted. I'll come back and read comments. And if you have questions, we'll answer some questions at the end. So thank you again for you guys. Thank you again for you guys I love that Jennifer is giving me tips on Facebook about how to do the Rumble. That's not how it works. Honestly, I've done everything to make Rumble work better for me. And what you're suggesting is just not going to work. But thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Now, let me go over a little bit of housekeeping. I just wanted to touch base on a few things. But again, thank you to my moderators. Thank you to my note takers. Thank you to everybody that's been reaching out to help. One of the things that I wanted to tell you is this. I am on Truth Social. A number of people are getting on Truth Social. That is the new social media platform that was started by President Trump's media group. Something that I want to share with you is that the platform is still very much in development. And it's important that you have perspective on this, because I've seen people out there kind of bad mouthing Truth Social and saying, you know, it's a flop, it's not going as quickly, people aren't getting on, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing that I wanted to say to you is this, that, okay, hold on, is that no social media platform has ever had the demand that Truth Social has. And I explained this on another show, but it's important that you understand just how big the demand is. And if they opened it up at the scale of the demand, it would just absolutely, completely crush under its own weight. And so if you're on a waiting list, be patient. To be honest, the user interface on Truth Social, it's not refined yet. There's a lot that they still have to do. And some of you might actually get frustrated. I get a little frustrated with it. And so just, you know, just remember it's in beta mode. Christy has a comment here. She said it's in beta mode. They are much more ahead than Twitter was at the time when Twitter launched. The thing about this is, you guys, you've gotten so used to flawless social media because the companies that you've been used to using have been doing this for years. Twitter has been around for over 10 years. That's a long time in tech world to refine your product. And I just really want to encourage you, don't get discouraged. You can go to qag.news. You can go to qag.news and you can see the feed. But just be patient. It's going to happen, and you're going to have a good experience. So that's all I've got to say. They are going to open Truth Social for your browser. That means you'll be able to look at it on your computer. All right. So just be encouraged. And so, yeah, just do what you got to do. All right. And Christy is saying it took Twitter 3 years to even start. And here's the other thing. When you get to Truth Social, it's not run by a bunch of woke, crazy people out in Silicon Valley that actually hate you. So just be patient. You'll get there. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is that I get a lot of messages, I have a lot of new listeners. I have a lot of new followers, and people are wanting to connect with me. People are wanting to message me. People are wanting to hear back from me. And there is, that's awesome. So I'm really glad. And I thank everybody for helping me to grow the platform. This is fantastic. One of the things that I want to communicate to you is this. First of all, the messaging and the notifications on Facebook are bad. They're broken. They've never worked that well, even before the channel got big. What does that mean? It means that sometimes when you leave a comment, it shows, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes when you send me a direct message to the page, I see it, and sometimes I don't. And if that happens, we're all adults here. I really try to acknowledge and respond to every message that you send. I really do. I just need you to be patient. If for some reason you send me a message and I don't respond to it, there's a chance that either it's just not relevant. For example, my private messaging is not a dating service. So I just want to let you know that up front, that if that's your intention, you just don't bother. And also that sometimes if you write me a really long message and you're wanting intense interaction, that's not really what my message is there for. That's not what my inbox is there for. So just be aware of that, okay? Um, just just please be aware and have grace, okay? And then also, same goes with my email. My email address is public. It's info@marygracemedia.com. Um, Same thing applies. Please keep it brief. If you send me a message with a link to something that you think is really important and relevant, please explain the link. I will not click on a link that has no context. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you because I want you to have interaction. I do like having interaction with my listeners, but I'm only one person. And so it really is suddenly just it's very difficult to communicate. It's very time consuming if you send me a long message. So I really do appreciate that if you would just respect those boundaries with me. And I really do. I appreciate all the love. I've had so many encouraging messages from so many of you, and I know that many of you are praying for me. And I want to acknowledge that and thank you so much for reaching out. I do appreciate that. So I'm not telling you don't message me. I'm asking you to work within those parameters so that I can get to everybody and that I can be that I can just that I can be effective in what I do. Okay. Now, what else was I going to say? Sometimes people want to invite me to speak and they want to invite me to appear on a show or something like that. That is the best way to do that is info@marygracemedia.com. If you come into the private messages, it's kind of difficult sometimes to see that. Now, next thing on my list. Okay. A lot of you have been getting, a lot of you have been getting, a lot of you guys have been getting more interested in the contents of the laptop. All right. A lot of you guys have been awaking to more of what's happening with our politicians, with all of the corruption, with the things that are going on just worldwide, but especially in Washington, D.C. I wanted to encourage you, and I've mentioned this to you before, that Peter Schweitzer is an author, a researcher, an investigative journalist who has done an extensive body of work on a lot of the corruption that is taking place and has been for quite some time. His latest book that came out, I've been listening to it this weekend on Audible. It's called Red Handed. And here's what it looks like. Okay, Red Handed. That's his book. That's his name if you want to take a screenshot. Okay, Peter Schweitzer. He appears on some different news shows from time to time. And I just have to tell you, he is his research is very thorough and extensive. He wrote the book Clinton Cash, and so I think that I want to encourage everybody to read this and to or listen, read, whatever format works for you. Get those books and get the background because as more information comes out about the laptop, as more information comes out, you're going to want to have an understanding of the basics and the background and the foundation. It's going to put a lot of things into context for you. Now, I will tell you that it's going to invoke anger in you because you're going to understand it. It's going to help put into perspective the reasoning behind a lot of the legislation and a lot of the decisions that have been made from Congress, from the Senate in Washington, D.C., from our elected officials. And I just, it's amazing, you know. So just go and get immersed in his content. Try to get the basics of what it is that he's writing about. You will thank me later when more information comes out from the laptop. Okay, just trust me on this. You're going to want to have this information. Now, is it going to cover everything? No, because I don't even know exactly what's coming out from the recovered files, but I know that a lot of the context of it will be that getting the context in place for at least this part of it, the corruption, the money laundering, the backroom deals, the pay for play, all of these things, it will help you to have the context for that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to say about the laptop, I'm not going to go into great detail about it this week or today. I'm going to talk a little bit about it tomorrow. But when over the weekend, I got a bunch of messages from people who were concerned about a couple of things that came out that gave the impression of discrediting Jack Maxey. Okay. Now, I want to say this, and I want you to understand I don't know everything, but I'm going to tell you what I know. All right. Now, for those of you who are just coming in on this, uh, the story is that I think it was Thursday of last week, the owner of the repair shop in Delaware who first got the laptop from Hunter Biden, he came forward and said in an interview with Eric Bolling, this is the interview that I saw. He may have come he may have come out earlier and said this. So for those of you who in the chat who are just jumping to conclusions and who are bad mouthing Jack Maxey, you might want to listen to what I have to say because I don't think you have all the information. So just cool your jets, back off. Whoa, Hoss, just hear what I have to say. Now, so he came out and he said, look, everybody, I think there's a problem with what Jack Maxey is saying because he's saying that he's recovered a whole bunch of hidden files, deleted files, and the math doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up because this laptop that was produced in this year only has a certain amount of storage on the hard drive. And so then what was the next thing that came out? So then Miranda Devine started tweeting, and she was saying, yeah, this is true because there's no way that this laptop could have held any more content than the manufacturer's specs say for the year that this laptop was purchased. You guys following me? So that's the groundwork for what was happening. And then there was just like a real storm that started happening over the weekend. People started attacking Jack, calling him a fake, saying that he was a fraud. And then there was an article that was dropped. And that article, the title of the article was, "My name is Jack Maxey and I'm a fabricator." And this particular article was basically accusing Jack Maxey of being an operative and being sent by some intelligence services to create confusion, to sow confusion, to get people off their game, basically, and to create kind of a false flag of excitement. Now, I don't know if some of you guys saw this article, but here's what it looks like. It's by somebody called Yakov Applebaum. All right. So this article came across my desk into my inbox from somebody who just dropped it there. Now, I read the article and X22 read the article. Some of you were quoting the article to me as if X22 had said that. I want to be clear about X22 on his show. Dave said these words that were directly from this article. Are we clear on that? Somebody was telling me Dave said this, and this on X22. No, he didn't. He was quoting an article. All right. My impression of Dave's comments on X22 was that he's taking kind of a wait and see attitude. He's leaning toward agreeing with this article. But what I know about Dave from X22 is that he's fair-minded. And if he has jumped to this conclusion by mistake, I think that he will acknowledge it. And one thing that I want to stress here, I really want to stress that if Jack has what he says he has, that's awesome. If he doesn't have what he says he has, who's hurt by that? In other words, who wins by Jack not having that? This is something I want you guys to understand, because I feel like a lot of people who are supposedly on Team Freedom have taken the stance, have jumped on the bandwagon of Jack is a fraud. Yay, we found a fraud. You guys tracking with me? I don't see any benefit or joy in finding out that somebody was lying to you. I mean, we want to know the truth, but I've seen a lot of gotcha statements from people who sound like they want Jack Maxey to fail. People who are supposedly like on the side of truth. That's concerning to me. I don't know about you. It concerns me that I'm hearing that, that I'm seeing this chatter. Okay. Now I am not an expert at computers and forensics and technology, but I will tell you that I shared an article that was put out yesterday by our friend Sam Faddis, who is the CIA senior retired CIA operative. He's been on the show twice already, and he's coming back on. Has he been on twice or three times? I'm losing track. So he's coming on again tomorrow at 1:00. By the way, he wrote an article on his Substack. I shared it on my Facebook, and I shared it on Instagram and on my Telegram. And this article is an article that Sam Faddis wrote. He researched a member of the forensics team that Jack is working with in Switzerland, and this individual has actually seen the contents. And the article explains why it's possible, not only possible, but probable, why it's possible and not only probable that the extra content that Jack is claiming could have been there was there. All right. I'm not going to go into details about it. You can read the article. I think it's important that you read the article and you understand and listen to what this person is saying about the way storage works on a computer, about compressed files, about files getting overwritten and things like that. And so I really, I'm not going to tell you what to think. What I want is I want you to get all the information is what I want. I'm a little bit disappointed to see people jumping on the bandwagon just immediately, and especially people who are influencers in the new media space. I am quite frankly a little bit disappointed because most of the time, these influencers are very good at saying, let's give this about 36 to 48 hours and let it play out. Let's see what happens. And I was surprised to see, for example, Brian Cates just jumping instantly on the Jack is a fraud bandwagon. I'm just going to say it right now. Kind of surprised. I don't know if Brian Cates has reached out to Jack Maxey. I don't know if he's tried to interview him. He is supposedly an investigative journalist, but that causes me to question a little bit where Brian Cates is coming from. I'm not here to bash Brian Cates. I'm just asking, like, what's going on here? Please read the article. We will link it in the show notes. But all you have to do is go to my Facebook and click on posts. And I posted it yesterday. I put the article in a video format so you can just scroll and read it. I also put a link to the article. Facebook labeled the link as harmful content. And so I had to break up the link. You're going to have to take out the word dot where it says .com, take the word dot out and replace it with a period. That's how that works. Whenever you see that written out like that, that's what you have to do. So here's the thing. Just use discernment. And I'm just going to tell you, based on everything that I know, because I'm in touch with Sam, I'm in touch with Jack. This story is not over, guys. So I just have a feeling that some of the people who are working on discrediting Jack right now are going to have to walk it back. That's just all I can tell you right now. I am going to read you a screenshot from Jack's Getter page. If you follow him on Getter, it's Jack_Maxey, Maxey. So he was having an interaction with Paul McIsaacs from the computer store. And finally, this is what Jack said to him. He said, "Brother, I have nothing but respect. I am fully aware of my risks. And again, with respect, I will take consequences for failure, not a game. And while you may have skill, not the skills of my team. I'm getting a little tired of the pushback, and everyone can criticize me to their heart's content in 1 week. Also, FYI, someone else did some forensics and tried to delete again some of the deleted material. We can identify whenever we want. Not my priority at the moment, but can only be so many." Okay, so he's truncating his words here, but he says, "So, my advice to McIsaacs from the computer shop, stop tossing bombs. I'm in a different matrix with best minds in the game, and with respect, I listen to them. You, like everyone else trying to defame my efforts, can do so at leisure rather than in haste in 1 week." All right, so I just want you guys to understand, Jack is standing by his story. He's standing by what he has. He's standing by his team. He's indicating that he has a team that is at a level way like head and shoulders above the guy from the computer shop. He's not dissing him. He's not disrespecting him. He's just saying there's different levels of expertise here. My team is on another level. All right. So now I want to okay, poor Vicky. Vicky, it's okay. All right. There's good news happening. You don't have to unshare the broadcast. I'm going over a lot of different information today. The fact that Jack Maxey is the real deal should not discourage you. That's actually good news. So I just wanted a minute to help to answer that question. All right, relax, everybody. I haven't done a show in about 4 days, so I have to go over some things. One of the things about my show is, I'll tell you, for those of you who are new, there is part of my job, part of what my calling is to motivate, to activate, and to educate. If something comes up in a day, in 24 hours, that I feel needs to be addressed, I'm going to address that. All right. I don't come into my show with a strict outline. I don't come into my show with a strict set of questions or notes. I really go as the Lord leads me. All right. So I just want you to understand that if you share the show and people don't understand what's going on, that's on them, right? They can go back and listen to the other episodes I did with Jack Maxey. In fact, I encourage everybody to do that. Please do that. Tell your friends, go to her channel. Tell everybody, go to Mary Grace's channel on Facebook, on Rumble, and go find all of the episodes that she did with Jack Maxey. I encourage everybody to do that, and all of the episodes that she did with Sam Faddis. Okay, so just wanted to address that. Now, let me move on to the next thing. Are we good on the laptop? If you have any questions at the end, we can come to that. I feel like I just wanted to clear that up. I just wanted to clear that up. Okay. Whoever just put that giant, Marsha, I need you to remove what you just posted in my Facebook chat. You're taking over the entire chat. Okay, that's not okay. Can you remove that link? Because the only way I can remove it right now is to block you, and I don't want to do that. But that's just like a whole paragraph, and you did it right in the middle of what I was saying. Which leads me to my next thing. As a teacher, guys, I actually watch my chat, and one of the things that I just want to encourage you to do is to stay on topic. And so if somebody's coming into the middle of a discussion, imagine you're in a classroom. I want you to picture this. I know it's different because you're online and you're kind of in your own space. But I want to encourage you about something. I want to ask you as a part of etiquette on chat to do this, especially because I watch the chat. And there are other people here who really want to connect and focus. So here's what I want to ask you. If you're in the chat, if I'm teaching, if I'm talking about a specific topic, if I have a guest on, something like that, what I wanted to ask you to do is really just refrain from interjecting your own thing in the chat in the moment that this is happening, especially live, especially live. Um, Imagine if we were in a room and you all came in and I was up front teaching and somebody came in and just started shouting out something that was a completely different topic. Imagine that. Imagine if you're at church and somebody comes in and they're like, "Hey guys, I got to tell you about this. This is really important to me." And they're just literally interrupting the speaker. That's the equivalent of what's happening in the chat when you do this, when you post something that's completely off topic, especially in all caps. Those of you who are new, um, you probably don't know how I feel about all caps, but basically it's like yelling. Okay. So again, I'm just going to ask Marcia if she would remove what she just posted because it's completely irrelevant to what we're talking about right now. It's important to her. I get it, but it's not relevant to what we're doing. Now, let me get on to some more news here. Some of you guys are frustrated. Some of you guys are getting into the space where you're thinking, okay, what's happening? This is so hard. I'm learning so much about the corruption. There's just, I don't know if I can go another day. Well, the good news is you can go another day. And especially if you are leaning into God, praying, listening to good teaching, reading the word of God, and being encouraged, because it's so important that you take positivity and truth into your being every single day, into your ears, into your eyes. Watch what it is that you're watching. If you're consuming a lot of news, if you're consuming a lot of information, then you actually are going to want to balance it with bringing the good news into your minds. All right. That's important that you do that. And so that's what I wanted to tell you. But here's the thing. I wanted to tell you that there are good things happening. There are good things happening, and I want you guys to see that. I want you to focus on that. And in prayer, thank you, Marcia. I appreciate you removing that. So in prayer, go to the Lord and take these things to Him and ask Him to sustain you and ask Him to give you wisdom, ask Him to give you discernment, because some of the things that we're consuming are pretty heavy. All right. And He says to bring your burdens to Him, right? He doesn't want you carrying all of that. He wants you to take action. He wants you to be a person of action. He wants you to put feet to your faith and to do something, not just sit there and wring your hands and say, who's going to do something? Well, it could be you, all right? But you have to do it in the strength of the Lord. You cannot do it. You cannot do it outside of that. I'm just here to tell you, you just can't. All right. And so I wanted to give you some good news of some things that are happening, some things that are coming out. And I want you to really praise God for this, because it's so important that we praise Him, that we thank Him, that we operate in an attitude of thankfulness and gratitude and not just complaining all the time. All right. Oh, hey, Christy, thank you for being here. Okay. So do you guys understand what I'm saying? Now, uh, here's some things that are happening. This is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. So there's a movie coming out. It's a premiere. It's a film that has been a documentary that's created by Dinesh D'Souza in conjunction with an organization called True the Vote. It's called 2000 Mules. You're going to want to write this down. You're going to want to go look for it because this is really important. This movie is about what they did leading into 2020. I'm going to be very careful with my words because the things that I'm talking about are things that some of the people at Socialist Media Inc. don't want me to talk about. And I don't want to lose my channels today just telling you about a movie. It's important that you go and look at this because it has to do with integrity surrounding the way everything is conducted on that day that you go to vote. This is a really, really critical movie. It exposes trafficking, not of people, but of pieces of paper, if you're following me. This is really, really important. It's a big deal. And the timing of it is important. It's one of the ways that they steal from you and disenfranchise you. Is everybody tracking with me? 2000 Mules. That is premiering in theaters at the end of this month. They're having a big premiere out in Vegas, and they are having a sorry, my dad is hanging out. Okay. He's waving, you guys. Okay. So all right. Distraction. All right. So 2000 Mules is coming out. You need to go find it. A lot of us are sharing it on Telegram. This is a really important way that that the news and the sorry guys, my dad's trying to get in. Apologies. This is a very important way that the news is going to come out. All right. You've got to understand this. So this is really good. All right. This is a really good development. And I get some of you are going to be saying, well, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen to this. Here's what I have to explain to you guys. All right. There are multiple layers to exposing what's been happening in this particular aspect of the fraud. All right. It's not just one thing that they did. It's not just a machine. It's not just trafficking. It's not just harvesting. It's not just Sharpies. It's not just that. It's all of that. It's not just changing the laws unconstitutionally, going against state law to change the way that they did things because of the pandemic. It's a whole lot of things. And why is that important? It's important because there's not just one box you can check. There's not just one aspect of it that you can just, check off and say, okay, we fixed that. There also, it's so important that you understand the depth and the level to which we are actually actively at war in our nation and in the world. I'm not talking about the Middle East. I'm talking about like the fact that things have been taken over right here on our shores. All right. I want you to understand that, because when you understand that, you'll understand that a lot of disinformation is necessary, a lot of deflection, a lot of disinformation, and that includes from people on our side. And so some of the things that were happening, some of the efforts that you've seen that have gotten a lot of media press, for example, they might have been misdirection. I'm going to give you an example of what I think may have been one. I may not be right about this, but I want you to start seeing with different eyes the bigger picture. And that is this. So for example, if you remember last year when Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, came out and had a symposium where he was supposedly going to reveal these what were they called? PCAPs. PCAPs. This was going to reveal everything and how they did the fraud. And when he had the cyber symposium, it was very exciting. It was really hyped up. I mean, he's a showman. Let's just not forget that. And so what happened at the cyber symposium, it was kind of a nothing burger. However, it wasn't a complete nothing burger, because what happened is that some bad actors showed up. And when I use the word actor, I'm not talking about somebody that's been hired to play a role as an actor. I'm talking about a terminology where you call a baddie, an enemy, a bad actor. Let's just be clear about that. When people say that, they're not talking about like we're in a movie. All right. We're talking about literal bad people who are showing up. And so what was the result of that? It actually exposed some bad actors. So is it possible, and I talked about this on my show, is it possible that that was part of the purpose of Mike Lindell doing that? Was it to draw them out of their lair? Don't know. Was it a head fake? Was it meant to get the mainstream media and to get people looking over here, not over here, while something else was happening? Guys, when you understand that this war is being conducted on the information battlefield, you won't get so distressed and so distracted and so frustrated by things that don't make sense, because the baddies are watching too. You understand that every move Team A makes, Team B is watching. And this is a zero-sum game. What does that mean? It means there can only be one winner here. There's no second place. I can't stress that enough. And so when you see things like this, you have to be prepared for the possibility that there was a different, that it was intended for something different from what it actually was. Now, I don't know for sure if that's what happened, but sometimes my discernment is correct. You know, you have to understand Mike Lindell. Here's something to understand about him. And I want you to go read his book from, what is it called? What was his book? From Crack Addict to CEO. This is important to understand about him. Mike Lindell was a card counter. He made a lot of money from going to the gambling tables in the biggest casinos in the country and counting cards. Why does that matter? Because he developed an incredible skill for acting. He was able to sit at a table and look like he was just drunk out of his head when he had only had a couple drinks. He's one of the best actors out there. And in this case, I really do mean actor. Why is that important? Well, maybe he did seem upset about what happened at the cyber symposium. Absolutely could have been upset, but he is Donald Trump and Mike Lindell are two of the best in the business when it comes to championship wrestling. If you guys remember that show, if you ever watched all that, right? The guys jumping on each other, elbow drops, right? Everybody looks like they're dying. Think about that in the information warfare. You got to have the Hulk Hogan's of the space. And I'm here to tell you that Mike Lindell is a Hulk Hogan of that space. I'm just saying, just be aware that there's a lot of noise happening. There's a lot of disinformation. There's a lot of distraction. And there are things that are coming from the good side too, from the team that absolutely must win here, because they're dealing with some of the most evil people on the planet. How do you win that war? You can't just snuff them all out. You can't just arrest them all. You have to beat them at their own game. Are you guys tracking with me on this? This is important for you to understand. because this is not it's not a game. This is not a game for you who are watching from home to just, feel like you're in a Netflix episode or something like that, or a mini series. This is for all of Western civilization as we know it, and even better. You've got to understand this, okay? You have to, and as a believer, you've got to mature. You have to wake up. You have to grow up in this process and be able to take things that are happening and to really filter them through a lens of discernment, through a lens of understanding how big this war is. And so when I tell you that good things are happening, I know that they are. You can't see them all, but we've come a long way. And the fact that this movie is coming out when it comes out, that is, the timing of it is significant. The fact that Truth Social came out at the time that it opened, and that the people who are on Truth Social right now are supposed to be there. I just want you to understand that. And so if you can just take a breath, if you can just relax and understand there's a bigger play here, and you have to learn how to pray. You have to learn how to listen to God and come to a place of peace so that you don't let every little move and counter move exhaust you. This is for the long haul. This is for your children. This is for their children. This is for their grandchildren. Okay? So you can't let these little things beat you down, and you can't run down every little rabbit trail. Honestly, what happened over the weekend with Jack Maxey and this whole discrediting thing, that was kind of a rabbit trail. So just be aware of that. Just be careful about what it is that you're devoting your attention to. All right? So just be aware of that. All right? Now, what else is happening? What else is winning? I don't know if you guys know this, but the conspiracy against President Trump, Russiagate, all of that, some very important people who are involved in the conspiracy to put that together, are actually about to get indicted. One of them is Michael Sussman, and he actually lied to the FBI. And he lied under oath to Congress. And so this is really important, because it means that while you thought that nothing was happening, while you thought that John Durham wasn't doing anything, it is. And I want you guys to go to Epic Times, Epic TV, and I want you to listen to the interview that Kash Patel did with Jan, how do we say his name? Jelinek, who is the editor of Epic Times. I want you to listen to that interview. The program is called Kash's Corner. He has his own segment over there on Epic TV, Epic Times TV, and he explains this. He explains it really well. He's an attorney. He was a prosecutor. He was a public defender. I want you to listen to that interview. So that's part of your homework. I'm giving homework. I want you to listen to that interview. I will link it in the comments on the streams today, because it's important that you listen to it, because he explains not only how this case is going, he explains the way these cases work. And some of you get really frustrated that people aren't getting arrested. Now, there's one specific thing he says that is critical to a case like this, and that is this. He says, when you're going after a big conspiracy, which this was a massive conspiracy to really to unseat a duly elected president. They spied on him, on his campaign, and then as he was president. There's a lot of really bad things that happened there, and they paid for these lies to be seeded into the media. So there are many players who conspired in this, and that's important. Why is it important? Well, So many of you, so many times continue to say, we need arrest. When are they going to arrest these people? Arrest Hillary, arrest Obama, arrest this person. That's not how it works. Anytime you roll up a conspiracy, a group of conspirators, you start from the bottom. And what does that mean? Well, Michael Sussman is one of the people who's kind of at the bottom of that food chain. He's like a guppy in this fishbowl of corruption. And so even though he thinks he's important, the importance that he has for us is that we've got him dead to rights, lying to the FBI and to Durham's team. Okay, so this is important because what does that mean? It means that not only no, I did not say that Jack Maxey was discredited. You got to listen. Now, not only does it mean that Michael Sussman is likely to be indicted, Kash Patel indicated that Michael Sussman probably has lost any opportunity that he had to be a cooperating witness. That's important to understand. But it also means that there are other people who may not be arrested because they've cut a deal. You may not like that, but that's the way it works. Sometimes people cut a deal. Yeah, Michael Sussman lied under oath to Congress. He also lied to Jim Baker at the FBI. He lied to a lot of people. So when people cut a deal, they might not get arrested. It might not be public. You might not know that certain people are cooperating with the investigation. I think Baker is one of them. So what happens if they go to the top and they say, okay, we're going to arrest Hillary Clinton? That doesn't really help, because if you're bringing a case against somebody, you have to have all of the evidence. So if you go and you just roll up Hillary Clinton and throw her in a van like a side of meat and say you're under arrest, she's going to have lawyers that are coming at you and saying, what are you arresting her for? You don't have any evidence. There's not even a crime. You have to have a crime. You have to have evidence and very strong indication that a crime has been committed, so that when you go after the big fish, you're going to have an airtight case. And Kash Patel explains this so much better than I do, because, this is his line of work. It's his lane. And so I want people to understand this, that you can't just go after the big fish and go, that's it, we got you, you're under arrest, and we're going to take you in right now. Guys, that just doesn't happen. Even on TV, it doesn't happen. All right. That's just not the way it works. It's Kash is Kash. That's his name, Kash, Kash with a K. So please understand this, you guys. Please understand this and make sure that you go and watch that episode, because it's going to give you perspective with things that are coming. So, for example, some of the things that we're going to see, my guess is the things that are disclosed from the laptop. Remember, some of the information may not be disclosed because it may be already being used in evidence, or it could be evidence that Jack Maxey and his team are turning over to be used by a grand jury, by a prosecutor. So just understand that you may not get to see everything, but you have to understand that when a grand jury is convened, for example, it's not public. So a lot of what you are thinking should be happening might be happening. All right. Is it happening as fast as we want it to? No, it's not. But even a simple case can take years to bring to trial, to bring to court. There's so many wheelings and dealings. There's so many wheelings and dealings that happen, outside of the courtroom, outside of the public eye. You just have to understand that. Now, some of you get frustrated, and I get frustrated too, because other cases get brought to court and tried, and the people get sentenced very quickly. And you're probably thinking, well, how come that happened so fast and this is taking forever? Well, one reason that I will say to you, there's one word for why that is taking forever, is the word is conspiracy. Because when you're dealing with a global conspiracy, when you're dealing with conspiracy across multiple layers of people and organizations and governments and elected officials, you have so many moving parts. Now, if you guys have ever played Risk, the game of Risk, think about all of the pieces that you have on the board when you play Risk. Think about all those little pieces and all those little countries. And then, like, if you're playing it on the floor and the dog comes through and all the pieces get knocked off, you're like, you can't have that happen, right? So picture right now John Durham's investigation as the biggest game of Risk you've ever played. And in order for this game to play out, it has to be done in a secure place, away from leaks, away from prying eyes, and away from the hounds of hell that want to knock everything off the board. You have to understand this. There's so many pieces at play here, so many threads to bring in. And Kash Patel explains very, very clearly that if you go into a case like this and you don't have your ducks in a row, you're going to get blown out of the water. The whole thing could get dismissed. So you guys have to understand that, right? So, and if you've ever seen those, movies where they have the big bulletin boards up and they've got like 800 pieces of paper and photographs and like, if you ever saw that movie, A Beautiful Mind, where he has an entire container, like one of those, like a repurposed container, a storage space where it's just filled with lines and graphs and charts and all these things connecting. Just picture that when you think of the Durham investigation, all right? And when you picture the cases, for example, against people who were falsely committed of crimes, like the January 6th people, like Brandon Straka, that happened, that took about a year to resolve because literally he didn't do anything. There was no evidence to pull in. There were no cooperating players. There were no witnesses. It was a fake, trumped up thing. Okay. And he ended up pleading guilty to a misdemeanor that he wasn't even guilty of, just to get it over with. Do you see the difference? So when the corrupt law enforcement is conducting lawfare and they're bringing a fake case against you, it's very easy for it, and they have the entire corrupt judicial branch in their pockets and all the prosecutors. It's very easy to get a case, boom, 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 right? Because there's no strings to pull. The Durham investigation is the exact opposite of that. We're talking thousands and thousands and gazillions of pieces of evidence that have to be right. Are you guys tracking with me on this? This is important to understand. When you get that, when you grasp that, when you grasp what is going on here, and you understand the intensity and the eternal significance of what is happening here, you could have, I think, a better perspective. I think you'll have more peace, to be honest, if you get the idea of just how big this is. And you're going to spend more time praying and believing and praying from a position of authority as a believer and declaring victory over all of this than you will spend worrying. That's what I think is going to happen when you can get this perspective, when you can get the idea that it's just so big. It's so big. And the other reason that you need to pray is that you really want these people to have help. You want them to have God's help. You want them to have God's help to bring the truth to light. You want angelic intervention to help show them pieces of evidence that they may not otherwise be able to see. You want angelic help to influence people in offices who may be just slow walking evidence. And I'll give you an example. When the prosecution subpoenas a document, think about what happened over the last year and a half. The federal government wasn't even going to work. DC was like a ghost town. People weren't even there. And in some cases, these people couldn't work remotely because of the high security levels of their jobs. And so a lot of the research and a lot of the evidence gathering that was supposed to take place, even the convening of grand juries, was halted and delayed by COVID. That's what you have to understand. This was so it was just set back. It was a major setback. All of that all of that came together to make it even harder for Durham and his team to do his job. So I hope that you're encouraged right now by what I'm telling you, because this is good. This is good news, because the side that is supposed to be winning is winning. It just doesn't always look like that. And another reason that I want to emphasize to you how good God is, and how important it is to rest in his goodness and to dwell in his goodness, is to understand that without the evil being exposed, without the evil being exposed, um, we would have no idea what's going on. And our nation would be torn apart. The whole world order would be replaced by the new world order had not this agenda been exposed. I'm going to say that again. Had not the agenda been exposed, as ugly as it is, as horrible as it is, as disgusting as it is, had it not been exposed when it did, through what they did in November, January of 2021, all of those events, everything that they did, um, we would have no hope. We'd be lost. It would be done. Like if Trump hadn't won in 2016, if Hillary had gotten in office, if their agenda, the 16-year plan to destroy America, you need to go look that up. If that had been allowed to play out, we would be toward the end of that. Now it looks like we're at the end of it now, but I don't believe that's the case. I believe that Team Freedom is winning, and they're doing it for the whole world. Okay. So this is really important for you guys to understand. All right. And people have to see, they have to see the extent of it to really get it. Think about what's happening in the schools, guys. Think about how much more awake people are because of what they've seen, because of the fact that these people forced you to stay home and to watch your kids do online learning, and your grandchildren, that actually backfired on them, because everybody got to see all the nonsense that was taking place. I'm using the word nonsense. I want to say something stronger, but I'm not going to do that because this is a PG show. All right. When you guys were able to get a window, a literal window into your child's classroom, all of a sudden you were like, oh, hell no. This is not happening on my watch. Same thing with the schools, with the masks, with the things in your arm, like all of that. When that started to come out so big, so many of you were activated. It was like, oh gosh, we actually have to take action. We can't sit back anymore. Guys, that's a good thing. God gave you the opportunity to get your eyes open just in time to see this and to put feet to your faith. Because so many of you have spent a long time just sitting there saying God's in control. Well, I'll tell you something, God's in charge, but he's not in control. He's not pulling your strings. He gave you free will. He gave you free will. And that is so important that you understand that, because he's giving you the ability right now to look, to listen, to take the information in, and to take action. And one of the things that I'm here to do is give you actionable intel. What can you do with what you have? Because we're past the time as a nation that that you can just sit back. You have to get involved locally. You have to get into your local precinct. You have to get into the elections. You have to get into the school board meetings. You have to get into the city council meetings, whatever they call it in your area. You have to do that, because this government is no longer capable of being run by the people that we thought were just, had it in the bag. We hired them to do a job. Not only have they failed, they've actually destroyed our nation, and they're destroying the world in the process. But this is not going to happen. We're not going to let it happen. All right. I just want to encourage you on that. I really want to encourage you in this because our God is so big. But he created you and gave you free will. And the decisions that you make, whether it's in prayer, whether it's in boots on the ground action, whether it's in phone calls, any of the things you do. I mean, I don't know if you guys follow Scott Pressler. He is teaching people all over the country how to register voters. He's getting voters registered. He puts his whole calendar up on his social media and shows everybody, here's where I'm going to be. Go to one of his sessions and go get trained. And then he teaches you how to teach people in your area how to do these things. He's been doing gas station voter registrations for real. Weekends, set up a table at a gas station, register people to vote. Boom. Okay? It's not hard. It's not complicated, but you've got to do it. You've got to get out there and take action. All right? I just want to read your comments for just a second here. Where can we find the 16-year agenda, 16-year plan to destroy America? If you go on a non-Google search engine, you probably should be able to put it in the 16-year plan to destroy America. Yeah. Yes, the whole COVID thing, all the theater. Can you believe there's some places that are not even back at work yet? Okay, crazy. Now, I want to talk to you, and here's another win. One of the men who was charged with a couple of crimes around January 6th, I think it was like 3 or 4 different things he was charged with, trespassing, a bunch of stuff. He was the case was completely dropped because it was proven that the Capitol Police opened the doors and let him into the Capitol. This is really significant, guys, because not only was he let off, but it shows proof that this happened. And so other people that are waiting, who are being held, who are being charged, this is potentially a really big thing because it proves that all of this bogus January 6th committee and the charges that are brought against people, like all this is it's just nonsense, because literally the Capitol Police opened the doors and let people in. Now, we already knew that. We already knew that that this was happening. We already knew the truth, but it actually came out. Now it's on record in a court of law that this happened. This is really big because I think that other attorneys can pull from that and use that information in their cases. This is really, really important. It's a big deal. All right. So really, really amazing that happened. So that's a win. You have to celebrate the wins, guys. You have to celebrate the wins. Okay. Don't overlook these things. Celebrate them. Now, let me look at your chat for a minute. Something interesting is going on with Twitter. This is really interesting. I wanted to talk about it really quickly, and that is, if you guys follow Elon Musk, Tesla guy, SpaceX guy, Elon Musk is a very interesting character. I don't pretend to know a lot about him. He's obviously a genius of some level. And something is really interesting that's going on, and that is that he acquired a majority share in Twitter stock. Okay. And so he became, I think it's 9 point something percent. And that was pretty cool. The Twitter stock went up as soon as that was announced. And the crazy thing is that after that was announced, Elon Musk was on Twitter. He was basically trolling Twitter and the employees at Twitter. And he was saying things like, he was doing little surveys. He was saying like, let's turn the San Francisco Twitter headquarters into a homeless shelter since nobody shows up to work anyway, things like that. One of his things was, should we remove the W in Twitter? Just crazy stuff, right? And that's just the way he is. Like he likes to stir things up, a little bit like President Trump, right? And so then it was announced that he was going to join the board of Twitter. Okay. And so then that this all happened like within a week, all right, that he was going to join the board of Twitter. And so then he was supposed to be put on the board at he was supposed to be put on the board on Saturday, and then he backed out, and then the announcement came out that he wasn't going to do it. And it's kind of interesting because there's an article that came out in the Daily Mail. Guys, I recommend that you follow the Daily Mail because uh because the because they actually report real news. I think they're out of the UK, the Daily Mail. And so he became a shareholder. He was supposed to be on the board, then he wasn't on the board. All right, that's where it is now. So there's speculation. Even some of the employees at Twitter are speculating that because of this, uh, Elon Musk could actually do a hostile takeover of Twitter. Kind of interesting. It's just something to think about. Now, do we know for sure he's going to do that? No, we don't really know from one minute to the next what Elon Musk is going to do. But here's something interesting that they said. If you are on the board of Twitter, you can only purchase, it's like 14 some percent shares. That's the maximum you can buy. If you're not on the board, if you're a shareholder, the way I understand it from reading this article in the Daily Mail is that he could be in a position to do a hostile takeover. Why is this important? Well, it's kind of interesting because I guess it was a couple months ago when Truth Social was acquiring a lot of cash, raising a ton of cash. When they went public with DWAC, they were just raising money hand over fist. And it was very interesting because for a new company, they raised quite a bit of money. And one of the speculations in that time was that DWAC, that Trump and co would do a hostile takeover of Facebook, Twitter. They would just buy them out. Isn't that interesting? So here's where, like, looking outside of the lines maybe helps, because there's something going on here that I think is beyond just what Elon Musk is doing. I want you to just keep your eyes open and don't get distracted by the little distractions. Just pay attention, because it's been my contention since Truth Social launched. Since Truth Social launched, that these other social media companies, these media companies, were going to come under the acquisition of what we call white hats, that free speech truly would be restored. Because let's face it, guys, Truth Social is awesome, but it can't be the landing place for everybody on the planet. All of these other companies have already been built. They already exist. And why wouldn't they be restored, and the right of free speech be restored to the people through these platforms that already exist? Do you see what I'm saying? It's just my thought. It's just I'm thinking that there's more at play here. And the other thing is that the other thing about this is that there's an executive order that was put out regarding election interference. I don't have the number of the executive order. It was in September of 2018, before the midterms, and it stipulates that that the assets of any person or entity participating in election interference, foreign or domestic, the assets could be seized. and that includes social media platforms. Just think about that, guys. There's more going on here uh, than meets the eye. And this is where I want you to have hope. I really do. I want you to have hope because this is just it's so far from over. All right. Executive Order 14848. Thank you. So go look that up on the Federal Register. Is it 13848 or 14848? Okay. Okay, I'm getting 13848. There we go. 13848. Go look that up, you guys. All right. So can you see how we're winning, like, in ways that you might not have even thought of? There's just, and when you understand that this is an information war, when you get that straight, when you understand that it's not a kinetic war, um, it really helps you to have perspective. It helps you to have more peace about what's going on around you. And it also helps you to know how to pray, because you can ask for discernment. You can ask for wisdom and revelation because God wants you to have that. You know, he actually wants you to seek out wisdom. The book of James says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God and he will freely give it. So we want to have wisdom. We don't want to be running around like chickens with our heads cut off going, oh my gosh, this is so terrible. What's happening? Okay. I know there's a lot of bad things happen. I really get this. I totally understand. And it can be very disheartening, but you have to make a decision. You have to make a conscious choice what you're going to do and how you're going to respond, not react. Okay. So that's what I want to say. Now, let me see if you've got questions here. People are asking about Dr. Oz. That was really odd that President Trump endorsed him. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. I have some ideas about what I think could be going on there. President Trump literally said, like, we have to win the Senate in Pennsylvania. Listen, somebody is talking about Real Raw News. Delete that site from your browser. That's clickbait. They put out a whole lot of crazy, ridiculous stuff. All right. So just no. Real Raw News, no. That's not even like disinformation. It's just fake. Okay. It's clickbait. Now, so here's the thing, guys. You have to decide what you're going to do. But if there's a president, Trump has a reason for doing things he does. I don't know the whole reason. Now, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that this is one of those cases where, where Trump is getting bad advice. I mean, he knows who Oz is. He's been in the, entertainment industry for so long. There's no way he doesn't know who the guy is, right? It's not like some unknown where some weird, crazy advisors came to President Trump and said, hey, here's a guy you should endorse. President Trump is not stupid, right? So there must be a reason. Now, some of these people that President Trump has been in contact with and other members of the White Hat Brigade, these people perhaps have turned from their wicked ways and they're cooperating. That could be the case. So, just pray and don't go crazy. Give it some time, let it play out, see what happens. All right? You can be skeptical. I'm just saying this is a information war that we're in, and there's a lot of pieces at play here. So if people think that Oz was one of the perpetrators of if people think that Oz was one of the perpetrators of crimes against children, it could be that Trump has something on him, And I mean, we've seen that with people that have turned. All right. It could be an exposure. It could be that Oz has already been exposed and now he's cooperating. You see how that works? Everything is not all black and white, guys. Like it's never going to be perfect. There's never going to be a perfect person. Understand that. Nobody's perfect. No, Jesus is not running for office. All right. That's the only perfect person on the planet ever. So now that we have that out of the way, every other person that ever runs for office is going to be flawed. If you can reconcile with that and you can understand that and have that as part of your expectation, it's going to make life a lot easier. Politics is a dirty business. And the people in Pennsylvania, they play dirty. They play for keeps. So it could be that Oz has turned and he's actually working with our guys. You understand that? And you cannot run somebody in a race like that. You know, this is a key state for the Senate. We have to win it all back. We have to. You know, Trump is not stupid. He is incredibly well connected. He understands strategy. Same thing, like, you know, Trump is friends with Elon Musk. So there's something going on there. Okay? I just think there's something going on there. All right? Now, somebody said in the chat, I think Trump sometimes drops a name knowing we will research and expose them. Absolutely. Yeah. It's already been shown. People have already turned up pictures of Oz with Maria Abramovich. What's her name? Maria. Oh, what's that lady's name? Marina, the one that does the spirit cooking, the one that's connected to Hillary and the Podestas. There's pictures of them together. All right. What is her name? Abramovich. How do you? Somebody put her name in the chat. I can't remember her name right now. What's that woman's name? Yeah, Michelle is saying the Dr. Oz ticket may really expose a lot. Because remember, Dr. Oz got his start, I think, with Oprah. So there's a lot of exposures happening. All right. So remember that you don't want to, you just don't want to jump to conclusions. Oh, Julia said Oz is running for governor. I'm sorry, guys. Wait a minute. I thought it was Senate. Governor. Oh, that's interesting. Well, the governor that's there is just a big fat mess. All right. And guys, don't get sucked into voting for a third party candidate. Abramovich, thank you. Don't get sucked into voting for a third party candidate because that's a sure win for the Democrats. Don't get sucked into not voting. That's a sure win for the Democrats. All right. Don't play that game. That's what they want you to do. All right. Jennifer, you didn't hear anything I just said on Facebook, did you, about why he endorsed Oz? Were you listening? Go back and listen to what I said. All right. Trump's not dumb. Okay. Abramovich, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot being exposed here, guys. All right. Just remember the people, you know, people want to pin the whole Jeffrey Epstein stuff on people want to pin the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing on Trump, you know, just because he was around him. You have to be aware that, what am I trying to say? Trump was in that world for a very, very long time, but he wasn't partaking of the things that they were doing. He was watching, and he doesn't forget anything. All right. So, okay, some people are putting Bronovich. No, Mark Bronovich is the AG of Arizona. Marina Abramovich is the one that does spirit cooking. Very similar names. Interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bronovich guy is connected to her. I don't know. Yeah, somebody said he's running. Okay, thank you. I'm looking at the chat here. Somebody said he's running for governor. No, I thought it was Senate. Yeah, it is for Senate. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay. Senate, thank you. Look at the chat. Mastriano for governor. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Okay, I see all your comments. So I was right the first time. Somebody threw governor in there, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm wrong about that. Doug Mastriano for governor. That's what I thought. Okay. Jennifer, relax. It's all being corrected in the chat. Okay, we know. Dr. Oz is not running for governor. He's running for Senate. Somebody made a mistake. That's all. Okay. Just chill. Take a breath. Take a deep breath. Yeah, Trump is sneaky like a fox. Mastriano running for governor. That's what I thought. Okay. So, all right. I think we got it. Oz is running for senator. Got it. Yeah, don't get mad. We're all here for the same reason, I think. We don't need to get mad at each other. All right. Okay. Hello. Just for those of you who are listening and you're not watching, I'm reading the chat on Facebook and YouTube. So, here's what I'm going to tell you guys. I would not make a decision right now about whether you're going to vote for Oz or not. You need to get more information. You need to go into this with discernment, because if by abstaining from voting, you will be handing that seat to the Democrats. Okay. And I know that you think that a Democrat is better than a rhino, but I'm going to tell you 100% that it's not. Because if we don't get back control of the Senate and the House, our country is lost. I just want to make you really understand that. You think that you've got this dialed in, and that your protest of not voting or voting for a third party like Green Party thing is going to show them. It's not going to show them anything. It's going to hand the Democrats and the New World Order elites our country, and we will never, ever get it back. I cannot stress that enough. I know you're mad. I know it's not the perfect person and you weren't expecting it, but you got to take a step back and you have to understand not voting is getting a Democrat in that seat. I'm going to say that again. By not voting, by refusing to vote for the candidate that is endorsed by President Trump, you're putting a Democrat in that seat. I can't stress it more importantly. He knows what he's doing. We've been in this situation before. It happened in Alabama during a special election that we lost a seat because of people saying not to vote, or people saying vote for the other person that Trump didn't endorse. It happened in Georgia. Let's go back to a year to 2021, January 5th of 2021. There was an election in Georgia, a runoff, and both of the Democrats won. You know why? Because somebody said, don't vote because it's rigged. And other people said, don't vote for that person. Don't vote for this person. And you know what? The Democrats walked away with it. That's why we lost the Senate, you guys. Do you understand that? Do you understand that the stuff that's happening right now, the laws that are being signed by Brandon, is because they won the Senate because of what happened a little over a year ago. You got to get smart, guys. This is you have to understand this. You may be mad, I get it. But your protest vote or your no vote is a Democrat vote. And here's the other thing that I get, that you see, these stupid things like rhinos like Romney. Do we have to get them out? Absolutely. Do we have to get Susan Collins out? I don't think she's running again. So whoever is running to replace her, we absolutely have to get a MAGA person in there. We're doing the best we can to do that. All right. But what you have to understand is that for the most part, especially when we have control of the Senate and we get Mitch McConnell out as the majority leader, that these people that as rhinos, they're going to be pressured into the votes that we want. All right. So a good majority leader is going to do that. So yeah, you may not like him, but a junior senator is not going to go against the leader in the Senate. They're just not going to do that. So you guys have to, I'm not, I know that some of you guys are new to this, and I get that. I get that you're frustrated. I get that you're seeing things at face value, and I understand that. And you may feel like this is a setback for him to endorse this guy. I'm just here to tell you that if Trump is doing this, he has a reason. And that, again, zero-sum game. I want you to learn and understand that phrase. This is a zero-sum game. You don't have to love the person. You don't have to like them. There are a lot of other candidates who completely fit the bill. In Pennsylvania, maybe this is the best one for now. All right? I just want you guys to understand that. Are there some things that Trump has done that don't make sense? Okay. Yeah. So okay, I want to address a comment here because I just have to deal with this comment. This is Judy. Mary, please do your research prior to showtime. Please don't rely on well-intended commentators to inform your news. I like your podcast, but you don't seem focused today. Okay, so one thing I want to say is, first of all, I'm not a news channel. I'm a commentator. If you're depending on me for news, I'm going to refer you to other news sources. I am here to commentate. You wouldn't believe the amount of time and research that I spend going into every single show. I can pick up my phone and go live at a moment's notice and bring more information than 99% of the people in the chat because of the amount of research I do. Do I sometimes get led astray by somebody who makes an offhanded comment? Yeah, I do. And then I just corrected it. When I'm reading the chat, I'm going to seem distracted. And that's why I'm telling you, hey guys, I'm reading the chat. So one of the things that people like about my show is that I interact with the chat. I try to make it so that people who are listening and not watching understand that if I'm hesitating, if I'm umming and awing, and I am reading things out loud, it's because people are putting it in the chat. I just want to be clear about that because I don't think everybody understands just what goes into what I'm doing right now and how many plates I have spinning in the air when I talk to you on a live show like this. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm going to make mistakes. I absolutely will make mistakes. So I just want you to understand, though, I am not your news source. I am here to give you a lot of information, to activate, to commentate, to bring good interviews. But I'm not here for your news source. All right. So just so I just want to be clear about that. Okay. So if I seem distracted, yeah, it's because I'm reading the comments and there's a lot passing by. There's a ton of comments going through. There's over 800 people watching live. And I told you before I started reading the comments that that's what I was doing. So just wanted to address that. So here we go. Just reading the comments again. Yeah, it's a little crazy to me that the things that people want to, yeah, anyway. I know. It's crazy. So I just wanted to address that because I want to clear that up. You make the truth great again. I thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. More chat. Any more questions? Yeah, I really think that there's more to the Oz thing than meets the eye. I really do. All right. Margie says, I get more on spot on news here than I do anywhere else, commentator or not. I'm glad I found you spot on, very informative. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. One good news source, if you want just straight news, is Epic Times. I do recommend that you go there. And they actually have I think they have a newspaper, literal newspaper that you can get delivered to your house. Do they still do that? They used to. You can read it online. Exactly. Just reading the comments here. Have I ever heard of Senate candidate Kathy Barnett? The name rings a bell. Mary makes truth great again. Mary Grace, I respect what you. Thank you guys. Epoch, EPOCH is Epoch Times. Epoch Times. All right. While I'm reading the chat, I'm going to put up a couple of links here because I do. If people want to support the show, they can do that. There's a couple ways you can do it. One is you can buy superfoods. You can go get the link from me for superfoods, info@marygracemedia.com. You can purchase CBD. You can also go to my website, marygracemedia.com, and you can actually just go to Venmo, or I have another link called Give Butter if you want to support the show. That's something that you can do. And when you buy superfoods or CBD, I do get a commission from that. That's like my sponsors of the show. Okay. So just wanted to let you guys know that. Okay, some people are saying that Epoch Times is delivered. Oh, somebody said that Walgreens sells Epoch Times. Really? Okay, weekly delivery. I knew they were doing it. I just didn't know if they were still doing it. Okay, good. Thank you guys. Yeah, Epoch Times is not free. It's a monthly subscription. I definitely recommend that that you work. I definitely recommend that you check it out. Okay, Victor is saying Kathy worked for Trump, but he endorsed Oz. Okay, well, again, sometimes you just have to pick the winner. You know, Trump has a really good record, a really good track record of picking winners. There's something that he knows. I mean, if you have somebody, even if they worked for you, if they're not a big enough name, if they're an unknown, are you going to take that risk? You know, it's just like I said, politics is a nasty business, you guys. It is a nasty, nasty business. And President Trump he spent 4 years in the swamp. When I tell you that he understands nasty, he understands. He understands what we're up against here. He also was in real estate development in New York. Talk about nasty. He's dealt with the mob, you guys. Michelle is bringing up an important point. She says Oz endorsed hydroxychloroquine. So there's that. Think about that. Okay. Somebody just asked if I'm gardening today. No, I'm building a deck. Building a deck. You guys want to see? This is what I did over the weekend. I was going to go live, but I just got so busy building my deck. I had my dad out there helping me, and the cat, Barley, was helping us. Let me see. Where's my picture? I have a better picture here. We're putting a deck outside the we're putting a deck outside in the basement, like a ground level deck. There you go. That's what I've been working on. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. All right, let's see. Is Millie in the chat? Is Millie are you or is Millie on I don't I'm looking for Millie in the chat. Is Millie Fran is saying something about CBD. Fran, just go to my link, shopwithmarygrace.com, and you can read all about the CBD that we have, and you can decide if it's if the testing standards are up to what you want. Everybody just have to decide about that. Okay, Steve is asking about Jack Maxey. Go back and listen to what I said in the beginning of the show about Jack Maxey. It's not a false flag. Danielle says Trump mastered the art of war. It's a hard book. I've seen it in an interview that he read it like 100 times. Yeah, President Trump has he has like a super high IQ, very good memory. I don't know if it's a photographic memory, but something like that. He remembers everything he hears. Yeah. Let's see. Reading comments again. I'm just spending extra time today because I know that people have a lot of questions. Impressed with your carpentry skills. Thank you. It's pretty easy. What I'm doing. I just the hardest part is just getting everything level, and I'm putting down like cinder block footers because it's it's not it's on a rise, so the ground slopes down a little bit. So I have to make sure that I can even everything out and have it level. So I have these cinder block footers that I'm putting in. But we have red clay here in Virginia, and that is that is a really good thing, because it'll be really like sturdy on the ground. It's not loamy or anything like that. Are you Jack Maxey's sister? I love him. No, I'm not Jack Maxey's sister. Doesn't he look he looks kind of like Robert Redford, doesn't he? Are you doing your work yourself? It's hard to get a contractor. Yeah, there's no way that I'm hiring a contractor for this. I'm just doing it myself. The yeah, I don't see Millie in here at all. Millie, where are you? Okay. She just sent me a text. Dr. Oz is known for his beliefs in alternative medications. That's true, yeah. I just saw where somebody's replying to Millie, but okay. Hold on a second. So before I forget, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, the our CIA friend Sam Faddis is going to be on with me doing an interview. It'll be about an hour. All right. 1 p.m. Eastern on all of these channels. Sam Faddis. I've had 3 interviews with him, and he is a personal friend of Jack Maxey. He's seen the laptop, and he is going to be in the show tomorrow. We're going to be talking about a couple of different topics, not just the laptop. I think you're going to want to come in. You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be it's going to be a really good show, and there's some other things going on in the world that we need to address that people aren't really paying attention to. So definitely come. I've gotten great feedback about him. People really, really like him. And so I definitely recommend that you watch him 1 p.m. Eastern right here on my channel. So don't forget that. Somebody's saying that Dr. Oz is pro-life. Interesting. Okay. It's so funny. I'm missing a lot of comments just because there's so many people here. It looks like Donald is in the chat today and he made a comment, but I didn't see it. Or did he ask a question? I don't see Millie in the chat. Somebody said that President Trump speaks Russian and Mandarin Chinese. I didn't know that. I know that he's super high intellect. Yeah, red clay is really easy to settle. I haven't had to dig that much either. Oh, here's a good question. Oh, I'm going to explain this. Why does Trump use such basic words if he has such a high IQ? I've always wondered. Well, think about this, guys. President Trump is a man of the people, and he is known in the construction industry for spending time for actually going out to the workers to talk to them, embrace them. You've seen him do that with law enforcement. He spends a lot of time around uh, skilled tradespeople, blue collar workers. So think about this. What is his voter base? The Democrats have called us deplorables. They've called them uneducated. They've called them worse than that. And a lot of the people that President Trump appeals to don't have a college education. Many of them are military educated. Many of them are educated in the trades. There's just a lot of down to earth, middle America, flyover country patriots that love President Trump. So think about the way that he talks compared to the way that a lot of so-called politicians talk. And I think that you will have the answer to that question. Why does he talk in such plain language if he is such a high IQ? Now, if you've seen him participating in roundtable discussions with doctors and scientists and things like that, you will actually hear him opine on a number of topics, and you'll be amazed at how well versed he is in so many different topics. So it really just depends on who he's talking to, what he's talking about, what the setting is. I don't think that he always talks like that. But if you go back and watch a lot of the roundtables that he did during the pandemic, you'll see, I mean, he's incredibly knowledgeable, and there's hardly anything that he doesn't know about. Okay. So Sharon, all right, somebody's saying that Oz is pro-trans. Yeah. There's a there's a lot. I'm not saying this guy is a saint. I'm saying there's controversy here. All right. So you just have to do your homework, but I'm just telling you guys, if you stay home and you don't vote, you're gonna be in big trouble. All right. You can't do that. You cannot hand over the Senate like that to the Democrats. A Democrat is not better than a rhino. Repeat after me. A Democrat is not better than a rhino. It's a numbers game. Okay, why is somebody posting in all caps? Steve is asking a question about Jack Maxey. Steve, I'm going to refer you to the earlier part of my show and ask you not to type at me in all caps. That's like yelling. It's like yelling. Don't yell at me, please. Just don't. I'm not yelling at you guys. I think some people type in all caps because of vision problems, maybe. But I prefer that you didn't do that because it looks like yelling. It does. Michelle says, my research shows that Trump just knows English. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware that he spoke other languages. Now, Melania speaks several languages. So, okay, I think I'm gonna wrap things up here, but just let me remind you guys, if you guys are, it's going so fast. Okay. Okay, here we go. Just reading the chat. Now, a couple things. Make sure that you follow, like, share, subscribe, share this into groups on Facebook, share the links into Telegram groups that you belong to, into private messages, into emails, so that people can come and watch the show. Um, the Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and follow. Don't just like the show, follow the channel. Those are two different things. And also follow me on Instagram. I've been posting more on Instagram under Mary Grace Media. And I have a Telegram channel that is Mary Grace Media Official. I'll put that link up right here so that you can see it. And don't forget, I will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here with Sam Faddis on the show. Again, we're going to have a great discussion. You're not going to want to miss that. So set your alarms because you might not get the notification because it's social media. Okay. And I appreciate everybody who's been here today. I appreciate all of your comments. I didn't get to all of the questions. I didn't get to all of it, but I did ask, I did answer some, so I hope that helps. And if you came in late, please go back and listen to the beginning of the show because I talked about some important things and I made some announcements and things like that. All right. Somebody said you're trying to get my attentions in all caps. The only thing that all caps does for me is irritate me. I can see you. But if you do all caps, it's yelling. You're just yelling at me. All right. That's just what I'm going to tell you. Okay. So I think that's it. Guys, thank you for being here today. And I love reading the chat. I really do. Please keep Jack Maxey and the team in your prayers. Please keep me in your prayers. And please do come back tomorrow. I'll do some other lives this week, but I do hope that you come back. And if you're on YouTube, they're censoring my channel so badly. So I want to ask you guys to go over to YouTube and share the YouTube link, and then also leave a comment after the show goes live. Leave a comment in the comment section afterwards. And let's just see if we can bump up the YouTube channel somehow in the algorithm. Anyway. Other hosts like all caps. Why do they like that? I was an English teacher. I'm never going to be an advocate for just indiscriminate use of all caps. Never, ever. Just saying. All right, guys. Thanks to my moderators. Thanks to everybody for being here today. And just want to welcome you back to the show tomorrow. All right. Mary Grace, Real Talk with Mary Grace. And this is Mary Grace Media. Please follow, like, and share, and subscribe. Take care, everybody.